friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, Independent Stamping Up Demonstrator. Today I have a quick, easy, fun card that is stamp free. As you can see, I'm using some fun die cuts and some embossing folders and a beautiful designer series paper that's in the annual Stampin' Up catalog right now. And it is the Flowers for Every Season. That's in the 2020-21 annual catalog. Beautiful prints of flowers with designs on the back. So many gorgeous colors and different prints to pick from. And as you can see, I'm going to be using this one on this card, but I used a different print. I think I used them actually all up for a class. But we did this as a class and I wanted to show it to you. So I'm going to put my flowers aside. A nice thing about this card is it gets you to use up scraps. So you can figure 6x6 paper. It's great when it's cut that way, but also, you know, you usually at the most are going to use a 4-inch width, and so you always have a little bit left over, and this little bit that's left over actually is going to be perfect for this card because they are just 1 1/4 inch squares. So what I did is I looked at the colors that are in the paper here, and a few of the patterns I was able to see Cinnamon Cider and Just Jade, the 2 new ink colors this year. Oh, and the other Misty Moonlight and some Bumblebee. So it was really nice because I made a lot of different cards using these actual colors, just different patterns. Now on this one here, the patterns are really, I didn't want to mix these two, and these two didn't go well together. But this pattern actually here, this pattern is the back of this pattern. So it was perfect to do that. But you'll have lots of strips left over from making your cards with 6x6, and you can do this card. Because all you're going to need is, these are all 1 1/4 inch squares, so you just cut one strip that's 1 1/4 inches and then cut it down, and you need 4 of one pattern and 4 of another pattern. So right there, if you have 2 of those, you know, about a 2-inch strip left over, you have plenty that you can do with that. So those are the squares we're going to use there. And then this is for the pinwheel. So here's just a Just Jade card. And I have the inside of it here. All the colors, measurements, products I use for this card are always on the YouTube description right under the video. You'll see the description part, and also you'll see a place that says visit my blog. Press that link, it'll take you to my blog. You can see additional photos, and you'll also see another list of all the products I used. So this is Just Jade, new in color, and it is a 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I'm scoring it in half at 5 1/2. So 11 by 4 1/4, score it at 5 1/2. And then I have a Just Jade card base. The inside is going to be the same size as the layer of white here. Mostly I use a 4 by 5 1/4, but this one I went 3 3/4 by 5 because I wanted it to mimic the white that's on the outside. Now the white on the outside, 3 3/4 by 5, and I ran it through with this new Dainty Diamonds embossing folder. It's in the annual catalog. It is really pretty. It's so fancy, but yet this being more of a kind of comfortable country type card, it still looked really, really nice with this. So this Dainty Diamonds, take a look at that. I had initially forgot to order it, and then I saw cards with it, and I just ordered it right away. Now, as you can see on this card here, I have some die cuts. I did the thanks on the outside and friend on the inside. So, of course, I used this to cut out my letter, my words here, and then I don't know what I got on this here, but it's covered up anyhow. But I cut out Miss, Love, You, and Friend. So I wasn't sure which way I was going with it, so that's the way I did it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my embossed panel with the Dainty Diamonds, and I'm going to put that onto my border. And my Bumblebee border is actually 4 by 5 1/4. Aren't you proud of me? I'm getting the hang of it. My arm is getting used to using exactly the right pressure that I want to do. So I'm just going to put that onto my Bumblebee panel here, and I have a nice 1/8 inch border the whole way around, 4 by 5 1/4, and then the white is 3 3/4 by 5, and then we're just going to put that onto the front of the card. I love being able to use when I'm going to put a panel onto a card. Now see, I got a little, what's the word? Got a little bit proud of myself saying I got the hang of this, and then I messed up. So let's put that on the outside of the card, keeping a nice border around all four sides. I love the way the bumblebee and the Just Jade play off each other. So I'm going to do a little surprise here. As you can see on this card here, there's the sunflower on this pattern, and also this pattern has the sunflower. So just to be a little bit different, instead of putting the white in here and then sticking a great die cut word in there, I decided why not put a die cut of the sunflower. So I got out my sunflower dies and I used the detailed sunflower there, and I put it down in the corner. Now you may say, why are some of them taken out? And I could tell you, oh, because I love that really neat designer aspect of that, and I tried to jazz it up, and so I did it that way. If the truth be told is a couple of these I was having trouble getting out, so I just put them on that way, and a couple fell out. So and then I just put that there. I ran through the sunflower a second time with cinnamon cider, and as you can see, the colors come through on that paper, and especially with this paper. So we're just going to go ahead and pop that also. Oop, almost picked my adhesive that is temporary. That would have not worked. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of my Stampin' Seal there. And then that's the inside of the card. And actually, I thought that was a pretty cool idea with the sunflower there, especially because of the sunflowers in the designer series paper. Okay, so we're almost done here. Now, to start this pinwheel, you're going to need, as you notice, I have a little doodad here in the middle, and I cut it out already from the middle of here. You have two pieces of Misty Moonlight, and these are 2 5/8 inch squares, so 2 5/8 inch on each side. Now this is a little ratty because here apparently I already had them cut at 2 5/8. I put them into my paper trimmer and I thought it was a little bit bigger, but it was actually the right size, and I kind of got it a little scrappy there, but it'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it down onto the front of the card, and you could do this either way. You could put your square and then put your diamond, or you could do it the other way. I kind of like putting down, I think I'm going to put down the square first this time, and we're going to see how that goes. Okay, so let's just get some, I need a little bit of a firmer surface when I'm using my Stampin' Seal. That's one thing I did find. It does help putting it on a harder surface. So here we go. We're going to, oh, you know what? No, I shouldn't do this one first because I'm not sure exactly how far that is. So let's put our diamond first here. So you just want to get your diamond shape first so that it's kind of, you know, right there with your two sides going up against the left and the right, and then one up here near the top. There we go. So there's your diamond, and then we're going to put our square on there. And I did like this fact because you can actually see the pattern of the dainty diamonds there. So let me pull that back here and get my Stampin' Seal on here. Okay, see, just when I was getting a little too overconfident. So let's just put our square on now. Okay, so we'll just try to get our square there, looking at the same amount of triangle on all four sides. Do that little squinty eye thing that we all do to say, does that look like it's straight? I hope it is. Okay, so there is the beginning of your pinwheel. So the next thing you do is you're going to start putting your squares around in all of these points on this pinwheel. So the first one that you start out with, you're going to be leaving the left side of it open. So we're going to put adhesive just on the right side that's going down, okay? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start right there on the top point, leaving myself a little bit of the Misty Moonlight showing. You can see this side is open here because we have to tuck something in at the end. So we have it adhered here, and then the next ones we don't have to worry about. We can just put them on. Okay, come on, Stampin' Seal. Cooperate on this card because we need to do a lot of cutting. So the next thing is we're going to stick the next one on in this next corner, leaving the same border there. Now let's go with the next patterned one with the sunflower, and we'll stick that into, oh, I think I'm a little bit off the screen there. Stick that one into that corner. There we go. Now we're going to do the next one. And you can play with all the different patterns that are in this designer series paper. Sorry, I'll just do a little house cleaning while we're here. And, you know, see which ones mix and match. You're really lucky if you get one sheet that both sides are complementary. It's awesome because then you're only cutting the, you know, the two, you're only cutting into one. But the thing about it is you might be making a card that uses just, you know, it has that 2 inches left over, and that's awesome for that. Ah, I'm getting sticky here. Okay, let's see. This just goes to show if you've just got this new Stampin' Seal and you're having a little bit of a learning curve, so are all the demonstrators. So, okay, now as you see, I'm just keeping going in the corners, okay? The next one is our smaller solid pattern, and that goes in this one. There we go. And then our flower pattern. And then you should end up right before the last one. That first one you put up, and this one you'll see that they match because we're going to stick one into there. So the way that we do that is we just get a good amount of adhesive there, and we have to tuck it in to that first one. So you just lift up that first one. Okay. And you lift that up there. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm kind of probably making you dizzy here. And get that little, it's a little hard when you're doing this on camera here. So there we go. I have the misty moonlight showing in the right. And then you have this little piece here. It's a little hard to get this Stampin' Seal in there, so I'm just going to use my glue. So I have a brand new glue opened here, so he's been being very cooperative, so I don't want to get too much glue there. But you want to make sure that this one is down. Adhered well, because I had a couple that I thought I had glued down, and I think because it's the last one and it tucks under. So isn't that a cute little pinwheel? So I think the most interesting designer thing to do on here is what you're going to put in here. Now you could easily put in a little button there. A few of my girlfriends who made this card, and then we were sharing them via our text messaging, they put some, just like a pearl in here or a little glimmer dot. But on this one, I just pulled out we have a beautiful ribbon that has this misty moonlight and silver and white twine in it. That's the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo. And it also has a really pretty white ribbon in there, a thicker, like a 3/8 inch white. And so I just took the twine and I tied it in this little button. And this little button comes from the Retired Arts and Crafts that had all the different buttons and fun things in it. I wish it was still around. But I like the fact that it was a little square, and we could pop it into the inside here. So you could do that in any way you want. Well, it just seems to be that my bow seems to be cooperating in one direction. So I just took a mini dimensional and I cut it in half, and then I'm just going to pull the backing off, and it's just cooperating with me so nicely. So I can see exactly, it seems like my bow is going to be what you could make it. I think I'm going to make it a square. So because you have a square and a diamond on this card, whichever way you choose to put your, here it's a square, here it's a square, on here I went with the orientation of the diamond, and then I just used linen thread there. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to come back. I'm not going to grab my paper snips, but I'm going to grab these new scissors I just got. How many of you have, like, I have good scissors, bad scissors, and then I end up taking my good scissors and they become bad scissors. And so every pair of scissors in our house were not working, so went on and I ordered like 4 pairs of good scissors. So there we go. So the next thing we want to do is we just want to put a little sentiment on here. And On this one I put thanks, wasn't that cool? And then I kind of stole the friend here. And since I have this die cut in here, it was kind of a little, it was decorated enough for me. So I think I'm going to put, you could either do these well-written framelits have been, this is the second year they've been in our annual catalog, and they have been so useful. So you could put in there love you, but I think during this time period we're all very much wanting to tell people we're missing them. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do that. So I'm going to pull out my glue and my craft mat, so my silicone craft mat, so that I don't get it all over my work surface. Put some glue on here. What would have been a good idea is to use my adhesive sheet for this. So I'm just going to grab this here, and I'm going to put Miss, and then another little bit of glue on the U. Little dots. Now when I'm using foil paper, I will let this glue get a little tacky before I put it on, because then it won't smush. But you really don't notice it as much on this card when you're putting it on basic cardstock. So Miss You, and of course, what are we missing on here? Of course, you want to make sure that's sticking down because we've got an embossed surface on there. And what's missing on here? We have that little eye, and yes, I'm not kidding when I tell you. And another thing that you can do with your adhesive craft mat, you can just use it as your little surface, because all of this is just peels right off whenever you're done. So I'm going to grab this little eye that I saved, get a little bit of glue on it, put it right, oh gosh, isn't that funny? It fit right into the pattern on the embossing folder. So there we go. So we just have a cute little card using a pinwheel. That technique has been around forever. Just remember that these bigger squares are 2 5/8 and your little squares are 1 1/4. And so if you have all these 2-inch strips left over, or 1 1/2-inch strips when you're cutting 12 by 12, you just save those strips because you can make a card. It's so cute because technically to make this card, you have to cut it into scraps. So a great way to use up your scraps, a great way to use your die cuts and not have any stamping involved. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to go to my blog, cindyleeBdesigns.com. You can always email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com, or text me or call me at 724-323-2296. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.